So in this lesson, I'm opening up 3 of the images: boy, guitar, music background, and guitar player. And I'm going to put these 3 images together and show you how you can take advantage of knockouts and clipping groups. So I'm taking the Move tool. I am clicking on the music background, holding the Shift key down and dragging that on top of the boy guitar, and doing the same with the guitar player, and closing these other images so that I save in my scratch space. Okay, next, I am bringing up the Layers panel so you can see it a little bit better. Opening it up, and you can see I've got a layer here, layer 2. I'm going to call it Guitar Man and Tan BG. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add a text layer. So I'm clicking on the Guitar Man so that when I create my text, it appears on the top, and I'll type in rock it. Hold down my Command or Control key to reposition that, and that looks pretty darn good right there. Confirm that that's where I want my text. Okay, next I'm going to show you how you can take advantage of knockouts. And I'm going to create a group from these 3 layers, the Tan B to Rocket. So I click on Rocket and then Shift click on Tan BG, and then I press Command G or Control G and name this text group. Hit the return key, open this up, and click on the Rocket text. Now, I double click to the right of the text. I don't want to change the text name. I want to open up the blending options. And you'll see something in here called Knockout. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is pull the opacity down for the fill a little bit, and then choose to knock out Shallow. Now, this is kind of cool because what you can see is I've built a mask out of the text that goes all the way down to the background layer. If I were to choose Deep, it doesn't really change it at this point because I have that background layer. But I can go ahead and say, okay, that's fine. I can Option double click on background to turn it into a layer, and look, now that top layer, whatever it might be that you've got on there, now knocks down to transparency, giving you the opportunity to do different types of things, like maybe I want a inner shadow that goes down to transparency, and I'll just reposition the distance a little bit and the size. But the great thing is it's a knockout that I can move around. Now, what if I actually do want it to go down to another background? Maybe I'm creating a composition where I've got this image here, and I'm going to go ahead and choose that I want a rectangular marquee selection. I'm going to refine that edge, feather it a little bit. That looks a little better. I'm going to make that a mask. And I want the background showing through down here, that tan background. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that layer and position it underneath. And you can see that no matter how many layers, I could have 40 layers, this is still appearing transparent. But I can take a layer, have it active, and then choose New Background from Layer to change a layer back into a background. And what you see now is that this text is knocking all the way through the text and out into the background. Pretty cool little effect. Now, what's the opposite of that? Well, it would probably be what's called a clipping group. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the tan background. So we've got this composition. I'm going back up and double clicking off to the right of Rocket and choosing that I want no clipping group, and maybe bring the fill up a little bit. There we go. I can take this text, and first of all, I want to change the text. So I'm going back to the Type tool, and I want to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm typing Rocket all in caps, holding down my Command key to reposition this. And maybe I even want a different font, something a lot bolder. So I'm selecting all, pressing Command H so I can see my type selection. And I can either just press the arrow key to rotate through or choose that I want Popular Standard. And I'm also pressing Option or Alt and then the arrow key to the right to spread this text out a little bit because I had actually tracked in one of the earlier lessons. Holding down my Command key and repositioning this. And then going back up and confirming. Now, I want the text to be a mask, and I want everything else to show through, all of this other stuff. So I need to put this at the very bottom, and I can't right now because I do have a background. I'm going to Option double click on background, rename this Tan BG, rename this boy too, and I'm going to click and drag the rocket text down to the bottom, and I can't see it at all. But notice that if I hold down my Option or Alt key and I just cross my cursor in between the rocket text and the layer above, I get this kind of weird little double circle arrow icon. If I click while holding down the Option or Alt key, when I see that, it will clip in that layer. Now watch as I go up. Do you see what's happening? Let me just get rid of this layer. I'm going to throw it in the trash. Now I'm going to slide the guitar underneath, and what you can see now is that I've actually clipped through those layers above. And you'll see that if I take the Move tool and I click on Boy and I reposition him, he's clipped through, and also so is the tan. So if I come in here and I bring down the opacity, you'll see the background is in there too. In fact, I can insert additional layers in here. So let me turn the guitar layer back on, slide it back up, and even include the guitar layer in here, and I'll change the opacity of Boy back up to 100%, but maybe put a layer mask on so you can see the rest of the images. So I'll just take a quick lasso tool, choose that I want to refine that edge. I'm going to feather it a little bit. Click OK, put a layer mask on, and now you can see that I've got the boy image in, the guitar image in, and the background all clipped through one mask, which is pretty cool. I can even click on that text layer and choose that I want to apply an effect. Again, drop shadow is just easy to show, but notice that drop shadow applies to the entire composition, and I can even do bevel and emboss. And the bevel and emboss, let me go in here and increase it a little bit. You'll see even bevels and embosses the images that are placed inside that group. So you've seen how clipping groups clip up from a bottom layer up through, and it will only work in consecutive layers. As soon as you break that chain, the clipping does stop, so you have to do it in consecutive layers. So you've seen how that clips up through multiple layers, and you've also seen how you can knock out layers to clip down through layers. So hopefully it gives you some ideas as to different compositions that you can create. One of my favorites is if you're creating a collage of items, maybe you've got a map or the shape of a country and you're doing a composition, you can clip in all your images to one layered composition and then clip them all into the mask or the shape of the country. Whatever it might be, lots of cool ideas that you can come up with working with knockouts and clipping groups.